Our protagonist gets dragged by his best friend into a blind date setup, thinking he's finally about to escape the single life. The target is supposedly his buddy's adorable younger sister. But the second the door opens, a nuclear-level plot twist lands right on his face. Standing there is not the sweet girl he expected, but his ice-cold ex-girlfriend staring at him like she just spotted a wanted criminal. Before he can even process reality, another girl suddenly appears from behind. And that's when the situation instantly evolves into a disaster zone. The ex immediately throws hostility into the air without hesitation. One glance and she's already judging him guilty. Meanwhile, our guy is mentally preparing his funeral. The younger sister clearly treats this as a romantic opportunity. The ex, however, seems to have completely different plans. Poor bro tries avoiding one source of pressure, only to walk straight into a much more dangerous battlefield. And trust me, the real boss fight hasn't even started yet. Things escalate the moment they're left alone. The ex radiates enough possessiveness to freeze the entire building. Half a year apart, and apparently she's still not over him. Rewinding a little, our hero was being rushed upstairs by his loudmouth friend. The guy was practically acting like a used car salesman. Meanwhile, our protagonist's heart was vibrating harder than his phone. He's carrying an expensive fruit basket like it's legendary loot. His palms are already drenched in sweat. After all, this is a blind date. And not just any blind date, it's with his best friend's sister. The man has been single forever, so his friend decides to personally solve the problem. According to the sales pitch, the younger sister is a perfect anime-style sweetheart. Cute, gentle, and way out of most people's league. Basically, a jackpot. He's already seen photos. Not gonna lie, the friend wasn't exaggerating this time. So our guy takes a deep breath, straightens himself up, and prepares his carefully rehearsed gentleman persona. Hours of preparation are about to be tested. Then the door opens, and every plan instantly explodes. No, sweet girl, no romantic atmosphere, just an unbelievably familiar face. And that face looks absolutely murderous. It's Liu Ruyan, the ex-girlfriend he never expected to see again. The same woman who dumped him and left him emotionally destroyed for months. She stands there, looking effortlessly stunning. Which only makes things worse. Because beauty means nothing when the killing intent is this obvious. One glance is enough. Our hero immediately loses every ounce of confidence. Her eyes alone feel colder than a winter storm. She scans him from top to bottom. No warmth. No nostalgia. His brain immediately crashes. He imagined countless reunion scenarios. A random encounter. A class reunion. Maybe even some dramatic movie-style moment. But definitely not this. Meeting at her house while trying to date her sister. That's a difficulty setting nobody asked for. The man starts stuttering. His confidence completely evaporates. And then salvation arrives. A cheerful voice suddenly cuts through the tension. Moments later, the younger sister pops out from behind. The second she sees him, her eyes practically start glowing, and her face turns bright red. Yep, this girl is completely smitten. And then comes the fatal reveal. She proudly announces that he's the guy she's liked for ages. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the true beginning of the Field. The ex doesn't even turn around. Her eyes remain locked on him, like she's preparing an execution. And her verdict comes instantly. Zero trust. Maximum hostility. Then the brother finally shows up. Completely oblivious to the catastrophe, this man reads the room at negative levels. Instead of helping, he enthusiastically introduces his best friend. And honestly, he's making everything worse. To him, this is still a normal, blind date. What a brave fool. Our protagonist gets dragged inside. The ex silently makes room for him. As they pass each other, A familiar scent instantly brings back old memories. The same perfume she always wore. Cold, elegant, unforgettable. Then she quietly delivers a terrifying warning. One sentence is enough to soak his back in sweat. Soon everyone gathers at the table, and the atmosphere feels straight out of a horror movie. The parents aren't home. Only 4 people remain. One clueless brother, one love-struck younger sister, one dangerous ex, and one terrified protagonist. The brother keeps advertising him like he's pitching stock investments. Meanwhile, the younger sister sits beside him, looking at him shyly. She even starts putting food in his bowl. The affection is obvious. This girl isn't hiding her feelings at all. But right as things seem peaceful, our hero freezes. Under the table, something brushes against his leg, slowly and deliberately. That's when he realizes the attack has begun. Across from him, the ex calmly drinks her soup, expressionless. But under the table, she's launching a stealth operation. And our poor protagonist has absolutely no defense. The pressure keeps rising, second by second. This is psychological warfare at its finest. His grip slips. The food falls right onto the table in front of everyone. Instant embarrassment. The brother notices immediately, but still has no clue what's happening. Meanwhile, the younger sister rushes to help him. She's genuinely concerned, which only makes things more awkward. At this point, our hero isn't worried about dinner anymore. He's worried about surviving. The ex suddenly increases the pressure under the table. A shocking move. Critical damage dealt, successfully. He immediately looks up, in panic. And for the first time all night, the ex finally looks back at him. Game on. At this point, the ex finally reveals a faint, victorious smile. One look is enough to tell she's enjoying every second of his suffering. The challenge has officially been issued. Meanwhile, our hero is sweating bullets. Every attempt to retreat immediately gets countered. Left, right, it doesn't matter. The pressure keeps closing in. Bro is getting cornered harder than a final boss on low HP. And beside him, the younger sister keeps acting sweet and caring. Completely unaware of the war zone, the ex suddenly joins the conversation. And every word carries hidden meaning. The verbal attacks are subtle, but absolutely lethal. A classic veteran move. Unfortunately, the clueless brother still thinks everyone is joking. This man remains the strongest NPC in the room. Our protagonist, however, is spiritually leaving his body. This meal feels less like dinner and more like an interrogation. After surviving the torture, somehow, he immediately looks for an escape route. But the ex moves first. She grabs his wrist without warning. And her grip is no joke. One sentence later, the man is already doomed. No negotiations allowed. She drags him straight toward her room. The younger sister notices immediately, but her protest arrives too late. The ex has already taken control. Absolute domination. Our hero gets tossed inside. Then comes the terrifying sound. The door locking behind them like a prison gate. At that moment, he knows he's trapped. The room is dark and silent. Only tension remains, and the ex's eyes are practically glowing in the darkness. She advances without hesitation, leaving him nowhere to run. A textbook wall pin situation unfolds. Only this time, the roles feel completely reversed. The pressure is overwhelming. Then the accusations begin. Every word sounds loaded with resentment. Clearly, someone has been holding a grudge. Half a year after the breakup, and she's still furious. especially after seeing him here today. The distance between them shrinks further. The atmosphere becomes increasingly dangerous. Old memories begin resurfacing, and our hero's composure starts cracking. This is exactly why meeting an ex is risky, especially one like her. She's standing impossibly close enough to make him lose focus. The emotional damage stacks rapidly. For a brief second, his brain stops working, because no matter what happened, this was once the woman he loved. The ex notices his hesitation instantly and gains even more confidence. She keeps pushing the psychological attack, testing his reactions. After all, he acted pretty calm during dinner. Now the masks are falling off. The confrontation suddenly escalates. Emotions completely take over. Years of unresolved feelings burst out at once. Neither side is thinking clearly anymore. The tension reaches its peak, and for a moment, our protagonist almost gets pulled back into the past. 3 years together aren't easy to forget. Old feelings begin resurfacing. The emotional fire grows stronger by the second. But then, everything changes. One sentence snaps him back to reality. The ex's possessiveness finally becomes obvious. And that's a huge problem. Because suddenly, this isn't about love anymore. It's about control. And our hero immediately notices. The spell breaks like cold water hitting his face. All the lingering nostalgia disappears. He remembers one important fact. She was the one who left. She was the one who ended everything. And now she's acting like the victim. That finally ignites his anger. He forcefully creates distance. The ex is caught off guard. For the first time tonight, the momentum shifts. His eyes turn cold. And he finally fights back. No more hesitation. No more confusion. He's here for a blind date. Not to relive old drama. That reality check lands hard. Then he heads for the door. But the ex immediately blocks his escape. She throws herself in front of the exit, refusing to move. The situation grows even messier. At this point, her emotions are completely exposed. The calm facade is gone. Only desperation remains. And that finally pushes our hero over the edge. Months of frustration erupt all at once. He's done being passive. He grabs control of the situation. A swift counterattack. And just like that, the battlefield flips upside down. Ladies and gentlemen, the wall pin has reversed. Uno reverse card activated. Now he's the one holding the advantage. The distance between them disappears again. This time, however, he's the one applying pressure. Years of resentment fuel every word. The ex suddenly loses confidence because the situation is no longer under her control. After all, they're alone in a locked room. His warning sounds serious, and the tension skyrockets again. He expects resistance. Maybe anger. Maybe another argument. After all, she always hated this side of him. But then comes the biggest plot twist yet. The ex doesn't retreat. She simply closes her eyes. Completely calm. As if she's already accepted the outcome. There's even a hint of expectation on her face. Our protagonist freezes. That counterattack lands on absolutely nothing. Instant emotional damage. Because suddenly, he looks less like the winner and more like a guy who talked big without a follow-up move. Our protagonist suddenly realizes a terrifying truth. If he actually follows through, he'll be playing exactly into the ex's hands. The man immediately snaps back to reality. Panic mode activated. He retreats like he's escaping a boss monster. No hesitation whatsoever. The moment she loses focus, he lunges for the door and escapes successfully. Behind him comes the furious roar of a defeated final boss. Needless to say, she's not happy. He sprints out of the room and almost crashes into someone. Turns out the younger sister has been eavesdropping the entire time, clearly worried about what happened inside. The second she sees him, she rushes over immediately. The concern level is practically overflowing. This girl genuinely cares. Meanwhile, our hero is trying to pretend everything is normal, which fools absolutely nobody. The younger sister starts defending her sibling, trying to smooth things over. A noble effort. But our protagonist can feel a terrifying gaze from behind. The ex is basically firing laser beams with her eyes. He doesn't dare turn around. Instead, he grabs the younger sister and retreats. Strategic withdrawal is sometimes the strongest move. Sure, it looks a little suspicious, but survival comes first. Thus begins Operation Avoid the X. For several days, he successfully keeps his distance. Unfortunately, the brother refuses to give up. This matchmaking addict has a new plan. A comic convention. Apparently, the younger sister is quite popular there. Tickets already purchased. Refusal is not an option. Our hero thinks this is safe. After all, the ex doesn't seem like the convention type. Big mistake. The day of the event arrives, and the brother wasn't exaggerating at all. The younger sister's cosplay is stunning. She looks like she stepped out of an anime. Completely transformed. Instant main character energy. Photographers immediately swarm around her. And naturally, she drags our protagonist along. No chance of escape. Photos are mandatory. The atmosphere becomes surprisingly cheerful. She's energetic, sweet, and easy to be around. Compared to the ex's emotional warfare, this feels incredibly relaxing. No mind games, no hidden traps. Just pure positive energy. But something feels wrong. Since arriving, he's had the strange feeling of being watched. A cold presence, like a predator lurking in the shadows. He checks multiple times. Nothing. Just endless crowds. No suspicious faces. Maybe it's paranoia. Or so he thinks. Hours pass. Eventually he heads to the restroom. A routine break. Nothing unusual at first. Then a stall door suddenly opens. A mysterious figure emerges. Black cap. Black mask. Black sportswear from head to toe. Not gonna lie, she looks like an assassin on a side quest. She walks straight toward him, then locks the restroom door. The click echoes loudly. Danger alarms activate instantly. He turns around to question her. Then the disguise comes off. Plot twist number 200. It's the ex again. And she doesn't look well. Clearly exhausted. But her eyes are terrifyingly focused. The obsession level has reached raid boss status. Our hero barely starts speaking and immediately loses control of the conversation. The ex takes the initiative. No warning whatsoever. This encounter is far more intense than the previous one. And far more desperate. The emotions spill over completely. The situation becomes impossible to ignore. Jealousy is driving everything. The ex finally reveals her real issue. She's been watching everything. Every interaction. Every photo. Every smile. And clearly she did not enjoy any of it. Our protagonist is completely stunned, then angry. Because the truth becomes obvious. She's been stalking him. And shockingly, she openly admits it. Then comes another move. She pulls out her phone and reveals a trump card. A photo taken during their confrontation. Captured at exactly the worst possible moment. The angle is incredibly misleading and highly suspicious. One glance is enough. Anyone would misunderstand immediately. An absolute trap card. The ex proudly displays her weapon, wearing the smile of a mastermind villain. And now comes the blackmail attempt. She wonders what the younger sister would think if she saw it. Honestly, that's a dangerous question, because from the outside, the situation looks extremely bad. Our protagonist is horrified. The ex has gone completely rogue, and she's fully committed. Her finger hovers over the send button. This is psychological warfare at maximum level. The ultimatum is clear. Forget the younger sister. Choose her instead. At this point, our protagonist can only laugh in disbelief, because the contrast is unreal. The elegant ice queen he once knew has completely vanished. In her place stands someone far more unpredictable. And with one playful smile, the next disaster is already loading. The girl suddenly teased him about his embarrassing past. Looks like she had learned a little too much. She even brought up his old relationship days, and then exposed a legendary secret folder. Yep, the infamous study materials collection. Apparently she had taken notes from it. Our guy instantly lost. This battle, the embarrassment damage was critical. He had absolutely no comeback. His secret teachers had been exposed, and she knew everything. She kept pushing the attack without mercy. A complete domination round. The atmosphere quickly became dangerous. She was clearly in control. Luckily, he stopped things in time, but he knew he had already lost. After that scare, he behaved himself, at least for 2 whole days. Unfortunately, trouble returned quickly. His clueless friend walked him into a trap and dragged him to his house. The guy looked way too excited, a giant red flag. Already, he mysteriously shoved him inside, straight into his sister's room. Apparently, a huge surprise had been prepared, and there was no escape route. The bro was fully committed. Then he slammed the door shut, even cheering from outside, like a wingman. Talk about forcing the plot forward. Our hero was completely confused. He stood there, frozen, not knowing what was coming. The room looked suspiciously romantic. Everything screamed ambush. Then a sweet voice came from behind. He turned around and nearly crashed, because the reveal was insane. She appeared in a totally different style. Nothing like her usual image. The contrast hit like a truck. Even he couldn't process it. This was a full transformation arc, and she came prepared. The visual impact was absolutely devastating. A critical hit, straight to the soul. No wonder the guy was stunned. This wasn't normal anymore. The gap from her usual self was enormous. A nuclear-level surprise attack, honestly. She was blushing hard, though. Clearly nervous about the whole thing. But she didn't back down. In fact, she got bolder. Then she approached, step by step, launching a direct offensive. No hesitation whatsoever. Everything had been planned in advance. She closed the distance and kept applying pressure. Our hero was in serious danger. She confidently showed her determination. This was an all-in play. His heartbeat went wild. The man was barely surviving. Most people would have folded instantly. But reason still remained. Because he knew the real boss existed. And that boss was terrifying. So he retreated immediately. Pure survival instinct. He begged for a timeout, trying desperately to calm things down. The panic was real. He kept making excuses. Anything to avoid crossing the line. Just change the topic already. That was his only hope. But she refused to surrender and moved even closer. Zero mercy. She had already seen through him. Confidence maxed out. The pressure kept rising. And then, right before disaster struck, the plot twist arrived. A door exploded open. Boom. Both of them nearly jumped out of their skin. The final boss had returned. Liu Ruyan entered the scene, fresh from outside, but already furious. Her expression was darker than midnight. One look was enough. The misunderstanding looked absolutely terrible. Instant kill, intent unlocked. The room froze. She demanded an explanation. At maximum volume, even the ceiling felt threatened. The younger sister panicked instantly. She wasn't expecting this return. But Liu Ruyan ignored all excuses. She charged forward. No negotiations allowed. And our hero got captured. A painful arrest, by the way, dragged out like a criminal. There was no escape. The trial had begun. She blamed him for everything. Poor guy. He couldn't even defend himself. Absolutely cooked, and then he was dragged away again. The punishment arc continued. Back in the living room, tension exploded. The evidence was destroyed. No appeal possible. The confiscation was final. Case closed. The younger sister was heartbroken. Almost in tears, she tried to fight back, arguing her case. She insisted she was grown up and deserved happiness. But the verdict remained unchanged, denied immediately. Then the spotlight shifted. Back to our unlucky hero. He was summoned once again to the familiar room, a place full of bad memories. He knew what was coming. And yes, he got quartered again. This time, she was truly furious. Her eyes were red. Emotion finally overflowed. All the bottled up feelings came out. She questioned his choices and his blindness. The jealousy hit maximum level. She wanted him to notice her. That was the real issue all along. And then she made a desperate move. The emotional explosion finally reached its peak. She desperately tried to pull him back into her world, refusing to let him move on. But this only pushed him over the edge. Years of frustration erupted at once. The pressure cooker finally exploded. This time, he stood his ground, no more being controlled. He forcefully broke free from her grip. The impact shocked even her. The room instantly fell silent. Even he was surprised by his own reaction. The adrenaline was through the roof. Liu Ruyan froze completely. She had never seen him resist like this. Then came the counterattack. Cold and direct, he finally called everything out. The breakup was over, and he refused to rewind time. He reminded her who ended things first. Every old wound was reopened. Years of swallowing his pride surfaced. This was a full damage combo. No holding back anymore. Every grievance came flying out, one after another. A complete emotional reckoning. He had endured enough. Now it was finally her turn to listen. The more he spoke, the more emotional he became. He had already moved on. A new chapter was waiting for him. So why keep dragging him back? That question hit hard. and left no room for excuses. He wasn't an object. He had dignity, too. The double standard was exposed. She got her freedom. So why deny him his own? That strike landed perfectly. A textbook reversal. For the first time, he looked unstoppable. Back then, she ruled the relationship, and he followed, always giving in, always sacrificing himself. But what did he gain? Nothing but more pressure. Liu Ruyan stood there, speechless. The confidence slowly vanished from her face. Her lips trembled. Yet no words came out. Her pride had been shattered. Completely. For once, she was the one defeated. He felt a little sympathy, but quickly buried it. No second mistakes. No repeating the past. He drew a clear line, then turned away. The exit felt incredibly satisfying. No hesitation this time. And surprisingly, she didn't stop him. The storm finally calmed. After that day, he erased every way she could contact him, then disappeared into gaming for days. A classic heartbreak recovery strategy until a sudden phone call arrived. From an old acquaintance, someone connected to both sides, and her tone sounded urgent. Looks like another crisis was beginning. The panic in her voice was obvious. Chaos echoed in the background. His heart immediately sank. Apparently, Liu Ruyan was completely wasted, crying nonstop, making a huge scene. The staff were losing patience. Police involvement was getting close. He wanted to ignore it. Honestly, who wouldn't? But he still sighed and headed straight to the location. The moment he arrived, he spotted her. Completely drunk, collapsed at the table, surrounded by empty bottles. A shocking fall from grace. The proud queen was gone. Only heartbreak remained. She kept mumbling his name. Her makeup was completely ruined. The damage was severe. Not exactly glamorous. He walked over. With mixed emotions, hearing his footsteps, she slowly looked up, trying to focus, then suddenly smiled. A silly, drunken smile. She recognized him instantly and staggered to her feet. Before launching forward, clinging onto him for dear life. The breakdown continued, full regret mode, not a shred of pride left. She promised to change, to do better, even trying to imitate her sister, which was honestly wild. The desperation was obvious. She feared losing him more than anything else and kept begging. He froze. After all these years, he had never seen her this vulnerable. The untouchable queen had fallen, and the reversal was unbelievable. Then a mischievous idea appeared. This was legendary content. Missing this chance would be a crime. So he pulled out his phone and started recording. Pure genius. He made her repeat herself while she cried directly into the camera. The evidence was secured, and it was absolutely priceless. The viewers would be laughing here. Even he nearly broke character. Now, he had leverage. The comeback arc was looking promising. After recording, he helped her up, then turned to her friend. The cleanup phase had begun. Her friend immediately pushed responsibility onto him. Taking her home was clearly impossible. That would only create another disaster. Besides, she trusted no one else. And now he was stuck with the final boss. With no better option available, he accepted the impossible mission. The friend handed over an address and conveniently dumped all responsibility on him. One final warning was thrown in. Naturally, he rolled his eyes. then dragged the completely wasted Liu Ruyan away. Straight to the apartment. Getting her onto the bed felt harder than finishing a marathon. She clung onto him nonstop. The moment he loosened his grip, she latched back onto him. Again, eventually, he broke free and dropped her onto the bed, already drenched in sweat, just as he prepared to leave. A suspicious locking sound echoed behind him. He rushed to the door instantly, only to discover it was locked from outside. Then came the friend's voice. She had sealed the room. Our hero was completely dumbfounded. Meanwhile, the mastermind refused negotiations. Apparently she was tired of their drama. Very tired. So tonight they were forced to settle everything. No escape allowed. Honestly, the woman was ruthless. Even legal threats didn't work. Absolute final boss energy. Soon, the footsteps disappeared, leaving him trapped. The situation was ridiculous. Locked in a room with his drunk ex-girlfriend and nobody to help. This script was insane. Then suddenly, the drunken queen started causing trouble again. She became increasingly restless, forcing him to rush over and stop her. The caretaker shift officially began. The moment she sensed someone nearby, she immediately grabbed hold, refusing to let go. The distance vanished completely. Alcohol and perfume combined into a deadly combo. Direct, critical damage, both physical and psychological at once. She looked miserable and kept clinging to him, like an abandoned kitten. The scene was dangerously effective. Our guy was struggling badly, after all. He was still human. He tried waking her up, attempting to escape again, but it was hopeless. Her grip only tightened, like she feared losing him forever. She buried herself against him, and tears soaked his shirt. The regret felt genuine, even through the drunken, rambling, and finally, his defenses cracked. He sighed deeply, stopped resisting, and let her stay. What followed was pure torture. A drunk person's special attack. No sleeping. No peace. Constant requests every few minutes. And endless clinging. The suffering never stopped. He endured the entire night, acting more like a babysitter. Eventually, her breathing calmed, and she finally fell asleep, bringing an unexpected sense of peace. Looking at her quiet face, he couldn't help admitting something without all the arguments. She was actually pretty charming. The next morning arrived. He woke up feeling something tickling his face, then opened his eyes and nearly jumped. Her face was right in front of his, close enough to cause panic, damage. The pose was unbelievably awkward. He was lying down. She was on top, and the positioning looked terrible. Time froze. Then her face turned bright red, like a ripe apple. But she recovered instantly. Elite-level composure. No screaming. No panic. Just immediate adaptation. And a very suspicious smile. The counterattack was loading. She stared down at him, confidently. Meanwhile, he swallowed hard, trying to escape. A reasonable request, honestly. Unfortunately, she refused immediately, then launched a shameless accusation. The courtroom arc began. He was stunned. The logic made absolutely no sense. He was clearly the victim. Or so he claimed. But facts didn't matter anymore. She started playing dirty, twisting the situation to her advantage. Quite skillfully, too. A veteran move. Her argument sounded ridiculous, yet strangely difficult to refute. She looked completely confident. That was when he smiled, because he remembered the evidence. The legendary recording. His ultimate trump card. He opened the video and raised the volume, instantly exposing last night's disaster. The drunken confession returned, and her expression collapsed on the spot. A perfect critical hit. She lunged for the phone. Immediately, total panic mode activated, but he was already prepared. Keeping it out of reach, deleting it, was impossible. This treasure was priceless. Then he leaned closer, enjoying her embarrassment. The revenge tasted sweet. Now the tables had turned. For the first time in ages, the former queen had no answer. She bit her lip, in frustration, staring daggers at him, while dying from secondhand embarrassment. After all the drama, the guy finally folded first. The tough attitude completely deflated like a punctured balloon. Instead of arguing, he buried himself into her embrace, and just like that, the final resistance was gone. Ladies and gentlemen, the reconciliation arc has officially begun. Our man even promised to change and win her back properly. Hearing that, all the lingering resentment instantly disappeared. The Cold War ended on the spot. She hugged him back, sealing the deal with a gentle kiss. And just like that, the couple officially got back together. The room immediately returned to its usual chaotic energy. Honestly, this ending was overdue. After making up, the protagonist escorted Liu Ruyan home. Or more accurately, he was taking his girlfriend home. The moment they entered, Bai Ningbing was the only one in the living room. But one glance was enough. Seeing the two return together after spending the night out, with messy hair and his jacket draped over Liu Ruyan, she immediately understood something was different. The alarm bells started ringing. Unfortunately, for her, the bad news arrived before anyone could dodge the topic. The protagonist went straight in. No more mixed signals. No more false hope. A clean cut was necessary. Looking her in the eye, he finally revealed the truth. Bai Ningbing instantly sensed disaster. And yep, her worst fear came true. The protagonist made his position crystal clear. He only saw her as a younger sister, and he had reunited with Liu Ruyan. Critical hit. The girl broke down immediately. She simply couldn't understand it. In her eyes, she had every advantage. Younger, sweeter, and full of effort. But before she could make another move, Liu Ruyan stepped forward. And what happened next was savage. Right in front of her sister, she pulled the protagonist close. No hesitation. No mercy. Just a direct declaration of victory. The protagonist naturally responded. This wasn't romance anymore. This was domination. Bai Ningbing froze, absolutely stunned. Even the tears stopped. After securing the win, Liu Ruyan glanced at her sister. That expression basically screamed, "Nice try, but this match is over." Then she calmly took control. The protagonist was sent to wait in the room. Meanwhile, the sisters prepared for a private conversation. And trust me, it was hilarious. The moment the door closed, the complaints started flying. Bai Ningbing accused her sister of stealing her prince. A full emotional counterattack. But Liu Ruyan casually dropped a devastating fact. She had been with the protagonist since their university days. Years of history. Years of memories. An absolute boss move. The younger sister tried fighting back, but every argument got shut down. The battle was hopeless. Veteran versus rookie. The outcome was never in doubt. Eventually, the conversation took a dangerous turn. Liu Ruyan found a certain special outfit and decided to wear it herself. At this point, viewers already knew trouble was coming. Inside the room, the protagonist's imagination was running completely wild. And honestly, who could blame him? A few moments later, the door opened. The atmosphere changed instantly. Because yes, she actually wore it. The infamous outfit returned. And wow! No exaggeration, the impact was devastating. The younger sister looked cute in it, but Liu Ruyan, she turned it into a completely different weapon. Pure confidence, pure charisma. Every step radiated danger. The protagonist's brain nearly shut down. This was a critical damage event, an unavoidable one. Seeing her approach, he immediately entered survival mode. No heroic speeches. No legendary resistance. Just pure panic. The man grabbed a giant coat, rushed forward, and wrapped her up immediately. Forget being cool. His only concern now was protecting his own heart. And Liu Ruyan burst out laughing. The queen had completely won this round. Relationship restored. Love rival defeated. Jealousy resolved. And the protagonist was totally conquered. What a chapter. A clean comeback victory. And honestly, Liu Ruyan carried the entire match. Contest. Absolute MVP. The endgame couple is finally locked in, and everyone else can only watch from the sidelines. Mission accomplished. The reunion arc closes perfectly, and the queen leaves the battlefield smiling. The guy immediately noticed our hero getting completely distracted by Liu Ruyan's stunning look. And honestly, who wouldn't be? The man was trying to stay calm, but his face was already giving him away. After all, the tough guy talk from before, reality hit different when the beauty was standing right in front of him. One teasing comment later, our protagonist was already losing the battle. The embarrassment level instantly shot through the roof. Instead of fighting back, he shamelessly leaned closer and admitted defeat. At this point, the man basically confessed that resisting her was impossible. A direct hit with absolutely no defense available. The atmosphere quickly turned sweet and dangerously romantic. Our hero held her close. The tension that had built up for years finally started melting away. And then he casually started flirting. Not just flirting, he went all in. The confidence upgrade was absolutely ridiculous. He even leaned over to continue teasing her. A risky move, but surprisingly one joke later, effective. Liu Ruyan's composure nearly collapsed. The tables had completely turned. Now it was her turn to blush. And she was blushing hard. She lightly punished him for getting too bold. But the smile on her face gave everything away. She couldn't believe how much he had changed. The once timid guy was long gone. Years of separation had forged a much more daring version. The two ended up laughing together. Every misunderstanding between them finally disappeared. Only pure sweetness remained. But just as the reunion reached peak romance, a loud voice exploded from outside. And just like that, the ultimate mood destroyer returned home. Talk about terrible timing. The couple quickly fixed themselves up and walked out. Waiting outside was an excited Bai Jian, along with a completely defeated Bai Ningbing. The moment they saw the pair standing together, everything froze. Because our hero was openly holding Liu Ruyan's hand, Bai Jian malfunctioned instantly. The man's eyes nearly popped out. Meanwhile, their tightly interlocked fingers delivered critical damage. The poor guy looked like he'd seen an alien. He immediately dragged our hero aside and launched into full emergency intervention mode. Pure panic. Pure confusion. and absolutely no understanding of what happened. The guy genuinely believed his friend had gone crazy. After all, Liu Ruyan's reputation was legendary. He had even tried introducing his own sister before, a much safer option, at least in his eyes. But apparently, that plan had failed spectacularly. Bai Ningbing looked disappointed. The poor girl was still coping. A tiny bit of hope remained. Unfortunately for everyone, Liu Ruyan arrived right on cue. One cold glance instantly silenced the battlefield. Boss energy activated. Nobody dared continue. Even Bai Jian shrank back, yet he still tried one last desperate rescue attempt. Watching this, our hero couldn't stop laughing. Then came the bombshell. No more hiding. No more secrets. He firmly grabbed Liu Ruyan's hand, fingers interlocked, and revealed the truth. Turns out this wasn't a new romance at all. The two had actually dated back in college. A misunderstanding had separated them. But now they were back together. And that revelation landed like a nuclear strike. Bai Jian completely crashed. His jaw nearly hit the floor. The hidden ex-lover plot twist finally surfaced. Even Bai Ningbing took emotional damage. She already knew the truth. But hearing it confirmed still hurt. A direct critical hit. Meanwhile, Liu Ruyan looked extremely satisfied. She proudly showed off their joined hands. The message was clear. Ownership conferred. Past, present, and future. Anyone thinking about stealing him could give up now. Bai Jian's worldview shattered on the spot. Completely destroyed. Only now did he why his sister never had a chance. The mystery was finally solved. And Liu Ruyan immediately rewarded him with a kick. With the relationship officially restored, it was time for the next stage. Meeting the parents. Our hero arrived fully prepared. Gifts in hand. Girlfriend by his side. And future in sight. He had already studied the parents' preferences. Every gift hit the target perfectly. An absolute professional performance. The man even helped in the kitchen. Cooking, chopping, assisting. He practically maxed out the son-in-law's skill tree. Dinner became incredibly lively. The parents were thoroughly impressed. Everything was going perfectly. Almost too perfectly. Except for one very unhappy spectator. Yep. Bai Jian again. After a few drinks, he launched another emotional speech. Still mourning the loss of his matchmaking plan, the man simply couldn't move on. He kept insisting his younger sister was the better choice. A truly fearless move. Because Liu Ruyan was sitting right there. And finally, the boss monster snapped. She grabbed his ear with terrifying precision. Then twisted. A devastating family-grade combat technique. The entire table burst into laughter. Even she jokingly admitted she was taking responsibility for this man. Peak confidence. Peak girlfriend energy. And absolutely zero mercy. Bai Jian surrendered immediately. No resistance remained. Only survival instincts. The whole family couldn't stop laughing. But Bai Ningbing wasn't done yet. Even after accepting defeat, she still threw out a playful challenge. The girl refused to surrender completely. Respect for the effort. She openly admitted our hero was exactly her type. A final counterattack before retreating. And she even warned her sister to treat him well. Otherwise, she'd be filing complaints herself. To make matters worse, she threw him a teasing look. Liu Ruyan's danger radar activated instantly. The protective girlfriend mode hit maximum level. No negotiations. No special treatment. And just like that, the chapter ended with the legendary rule, beware of thieves, beware of rivals, and most importantly, beware of your own little sister. Seeing Liu Ruyan glare at anyone who got too close to him, our hero couldn't stop smiling. That possessive energy was honestly sweeter than any love confession. Meanwhile, the future father-in-law was having the time of his life. And naturally, he pulled out his treasured homemade medicinal wine. The kind of legendary drink every dad proudly swears by. One cup became several cups before anyone noticed. Our hero had absolutely no chance of escaping. Soon, the alcohol began kicking in. His entire body felt warm. The wine was clearly stronger than expected. Even walking became a little unstable. When it was finally time to leave, Liu Ruyan immediately wrapped herself around his arm. The couple looked inseparable. At the doorway, Bai Jian escorted them out, then gave our hero a meaningful look. The look of a man sending a soldier to war. His expression practically screamed, "Good luck, brother." After all, the combination he was facing tonight was terrifying. Even Bai Ningbing came out to watch, and immediately joined the teasing. The younger sister was clearly enjoying herself, not missing any chance to joke around. The poor couple became today's entertainment. Liu Ruyan fired back with one glance and shut everyone down. Then she escorted her boyfriend into the car. Inside the small cabin, the atmosphere instantly became awkwardly intimate. She leaned over to help him with the seatbelt. A playful smile never left her face. At this point, she was clearly enjoying the situation and kept teasing him nonstop, especially after seeing how effective that wine had been. Our hero loosened up. The alcohol was definitely doing work. He answered honestly. That drink was no joke. He was feeling it. Seeing that reaction, Liu Ruyan became even more mischievous. The woman knew exactly what she was doing. Every word carried dangerous levels of teasing energy. And our hero was cooked. One look at her was enough to break his defenses. The last bit of self-control vanished instantly. He reacted without hesitation, completely turning the situation around. Now it was his turn to counterattack. The flirting battle entered its final round. Either side wanted to lose. The tension was off the charts. And the night was still young. Both were fully confident. Neither intended to back down. Liu Ruyan immediately accepted the challenge. That competitive smile said everything. The couple kept teasing each other. A short while later, Liu Ruyan took the wheel. The car disappeared into the night. And judging by those two, sleep was definitely not part of the plan. As for who would surrender first, the story wisely leaves that mystery unsolved. And just like that, the journey finally reached its conclusion. From misunderstandings and heartbreak to reunion and redemption, our hero not only won back the woman he loved, but also earned the approval of her entire family. A wholesome ending, plenty of laughs, and one last victory for true love. The end.